So, Hare Krishna, I'm Manmohan Krishnadas. Welcome all of you on behalf of ISKCON Juhu in our Nectar of Instruction series. So, yesterday we are discussing about, yesterday we discussed about how sadhu, what should I say, love, 6 symptoms of loving exchange. Dadati pratigrihnati guhyam akhyati pruchyati bhunkte bhojyate cheva sadvidam priti lakshanam. That's what we discussed. So there we discuss whom to associate, where to associate, how to associate, and why to associate. And we also discuss do not associate with certain kind of people. So who are those? So whom should we not associate? Mayavadi atheist. How? By these 6 ways we should not associate guhyam akhyati pruchyati dadati pratigunati bhunkte bhujyate. Guhyam means dadati means giving. Pratigunati means receiving the gifts. Guhyam akhyati pruchyati, we should tell confidential knowledge. So what is that? Krishna consciousness is the confidential knowledge. Pruchyati, we should inquire the in relation to Krishna consciousness. Bhunkte bhojyate cheva, we should offer them Krishna prasad and we should accept the Krishna prasad from there. So we discuss different way, how the ISKCON give the facility, how devotee invites them in the house and all. So we discussed in detail. Then we had gone through Nectar of Instruction verse 5. So there, that verse is Krishneti yasya giritam manasa adre dikshacheta pranatipis bhajate misam susrusya bhajana vijnanam ananya anya nindadi sunya hridaya ipsita sangalakava. Krishneti yasya giritam manasa adre, one who takes the name of Krishna, we should respect them mentally. Dikshasti cheta pranatipis bhajatim isam, one who is initiated and engaged in the service of Krishna by the order of spiritual master, he should be offered obeisances. Dikshasti cheta pranatipis bhajatim isam susrusya bhajana vijnanam ananya, and one who is engaged in unalloyed ananya, again ananya bhakti ananya bhakti. Susrusya bhajana vijnanam ananya anya nindadi sunya hridaya. So one who is solely engaged in the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have been initiated, he is under the guidance of spiritual master and is free from criticizing others. He is desired to be associated with, and we should inquire from him. So that's what we discussed. So basically, we discussed Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari, and all those things we discuss. So who all are Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama? So that's what. So in the it's from Srimad Bhagavatam, who are Kanishta Adhikari? So the Maharaj Nimi said, tell me in greater detail about the devotees of the Supreme Lord. What are the natural symptoms by which I can distinguish between the most advanced devotee, those on the middle level, and those who are neophyte? How can I? So that comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. What are the typical religious activities of Vaishnava? How does he speak? Even this Arjuna has asked same question. What is that? 2.54. Kim aseta vrajeta kim sitragya ka basa samadhista kesava sthiti kim prabhaseta kim aseta vrajeta kim. So what are the symptoms? Okay, but these are in different level. This is directly on the devotee level of different gradation of the devotee. So what are the typical religious activity of Vaishnava? How does he speak? Specifically, please describe those symptoms and characteristic by which the Vaishnava become dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11 to 44. So we discussed Kanishta Adhikari. So the difference between Archana and Bhajan. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the difference. Archana refer to the platform of sadhana bhakti in which one serves the Lord to carry out the rules and regulations of the process. That is specifically to bring the discipline. Okay. So one who has, and when you offer seva, you develop the attachment. So one who has achieved the shelter of the Lord's holy name and is totally engaged in attempt to serve the Lord should be considered to be the platform of bhajan. Develop the shelter. of holy name, totally engage in attempt to serve the Lord should be considered to be on the platform of bhajan. Even though his external activity may sometimes be less strict than those of the neophyte engaged in archana. This may be little bit liberal, na dikta nahi hai, but they have been, their mind is already trained. This apparent lack of strictness, however, refer to the laxity not in the basic principle of sane behavior and renunciation of gratification, but rather in the detail of our ceremonies. So Kanishta Adhikari may consider this lack of strictness to be a fault. Some fault find kar sakte hain. So be consciousness that God is everywhere, not only in the temple. So Kanishta Adhikari, be conscious that God is everywhere, not only in the temple. Srila Madhvacharya comments that one in the lowest stage of devotional service faithfully worship the deity in the temple, but is not aware that Supreme Person of God is actually all pervading. So the same mentality can be seen in the Western country, that people commit all type of sinful activity in their home and in the street, but then piously go to church and pray to God for mercy. Actually, God is in our home, God is in the street, God is in our office, God is in the forest, God is everywhere, and therefore God should be worshipped everywhere at the process of devotional service at his lotus feet. So Kanishta devotee think high of himself. They don't respect other devotees. So that's what we discussed. Criticize the more advanced devotee of the Lord, neglect them, simply has no understanding of their exalted position as preacher or completely self-realized souls. Okay, so these are the problems. Being puffed up by his own ceremonial worship, a Kanishta Adhikari cannot imagine that anyone is more pious or religious than he. He is not even aware that other devotees are more advanced. Thus, he cannot understand the Madhyama or Uttama standard of devotional service, and sometimes because of his false pride, he criticizes, neglect them, and simply has no understanding. So that's another problem. Kanishta devotees disturb if second-class devotee criticize the non-devotees of the Lord. So Madhyamadhikari, what do? They make a friend with the devotees of the Lord. They keep the distance from the envious people, and they are merciful to the those who are innocent. So their quality. So when Madhyamadhikari criticize non-devotees, they feel disturbed. So in the name of compassion or kindness, a Kanishta Adhikari approves of the non-devotional activity of such as materialistic men. Because the Kanishta Adhikari is ignorant of the higher realm of devotional service and unlimited transcendental base of Krishna consciousness, he sees devotional service merely as the religious aspect of life, but think that life has many enjoyable and worthwhile non-devotional aspects. That's what they think. Therefore, he becomes angry when second-class devotee who are experience that Krishna is everything criticize the non-devotee. So Madhvacharya says that such person, because of his rudimentary faith in Krishna, is considered a devotee, but he is Bhakta Adama, Naradhama, and this is Bhakta Adama, a devotee of the lowest standard. Okay. So we had discussed that Naradhama. Okay. If such a materialistic devotee follow the rules and regulations of deity worship, he will gradually be elevated to higher standard and eventually become pure devotee of the Lord, unless they commit offense against other devotee. So actually, after coming to Krishna consciousness, what will happen? All the reaction of our sinful activity will go away. But most of the time we suffer because of aparadha. In which case their advancement will be checked. So that's the thing. So Kanishta devotee offends demigod. The devotee of the Lord should not misinterpret Bhagavad Gita's injunction against demigod worship as a license to offend the demigod who are bona fide Vaishnava. Okay, so Srila Madhvacharya states that the Bhaktana Upekshaka Kuryur Vaishnava Api Dvesam. Those who neglect or show indifference to the devotees of the Lord are to be considered offender at the lotus feet of Vishnu. We should not offend. So that's why that next verse is coming. That how, when we are associating with the Vaishnava, so here is how to understand different level of Vaishnava, but how we should not judge the Vaishnava. So that is given in the next verse. Okay. So similarly, those who respect of devotional service and be forced to rotate again and again in samsara. So if we don't worship, doesn't mean that we are we are not respecting them. Okay. So Pujya Devas Tatha Sada, the demigods are always to be offered respect since they are devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If someone is envious of the demigod, he is to be considered envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, one who offers sincere respect to demigod is considered to be respecting the will of the Supreme Lord. A Vaishnava does not foolishly think that there are many gods. He knows that there is one Supreme Personality of Godhead. But as stated many times in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord has mission within the material world, which is to reform the conditioned living entity through the cruel law of nature. In the Lord's mission within the world, demigods are to be considered the link of the Lord's body. So there are so many things, different definitions. Anyway, so we'll not go through this, but we'll share this presentation. We had already discussed in Nectar of Instruction. Okay, 5th verse. So now today we are going to discuss verse number 6, offenses against the pure devotee. So what we should not do when we are associating with the pure devotee. So and everyone commits this offense. So we should be very, very careful. So this he says, "Drishte swabhava janite vapuchascha doser na prakrutamiham bhakta janasya pasyet ganga ambasam nakhalu pudapena pankher brahma dravatam apagachati niradharmer." So he says, "Drishte swabhava janite vapu." Vapu means body. Chascha doser, being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, devotee does not identify with the body. So after coming to Krishna consciousness, we should not judge, his black devotee, his white devotee is looking ugly. No, that should not be the issue. Huh? We should not do that. So being situated in, so when you find Kanishta Adhikari, we should keep, we should respect them, but we don't associate with them. That is different thing. So being situated in his original Krishna consciousness position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. So we are beyond bodily conception now. It should be, must be. And such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. It should not be from the materialistic point of view. Okay. Indeed, how? We'll discuss that. Indeed, one should overlook the devotees having body born in the low family, a body with a bad complexion. Haridas Thakur is the body born in the low family. Okay, a deformed body. So Kola which is Sridhar, and there is one person who has got leprosy. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is neglected. We'll discuss that. Okay. Body with bad complexion, deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfection may seem prominent in the body of pure devotee. It seems prominent in the pure devotee. It's like we see many sannyasis. I don't want to give the name, but they are bodily disfigured, they are not active. But despite such a seeming defects, the body of the pure devotee cannot be polluted. Cannot be polluted. How? It is exactly like the waters of Ganges, which sometime during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam and mud. Ganges water में होता है, bubble होता है, foam होता है, mud होता है. एक बार तो मैं काशी विश्वनाथ गया था, बहुत समय पहले जब मैं इंटरव्यू देने गया था एयरफोर्स का, तो मैं वहां पे बोट में बैठ के गंगा घाट का दर्शन कर रहा था. सामने जहाँ पे मूर्ति को जलाते वो भी घाट थे, उसका नाम भूल गया क्या, कौन सा घाट है. एनीवे, तो मैं गया वहाँ गंगा घाट, गंगा जी का दर्शन कर रहा था. वहां सामने बॉडी जा रही है पानी में बहते हुए मेरे सामने. आई एम सी. एंड वहां बोट से उतरने के बाद मैंने क्या किया, आचमन किया, उसमें नहाया. और ऐसा बोला गया है, if we touch the dead body, we should take bath. सेम पानी में मैंने आचमन किया. Why? Although the Ganges water seems like polluted with bubbles, foam and mud. Okay. But it seems, but Ganges water do not become polluted. So those same way we see the defects in the body of pure devotee, but we should not judge them because their body is still spiritual. So same like Ganges water. So those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bath in Ganges without considering the condition of the water. So hope this is very understandable. So it is said, let's go through Srila Prabhupada purport. Sadhana Bhakti, the activity of the soul proper, in other words, engagement in transcendental loving service of the Lord is performed in the liberated condition. So when you are performing, you are liberated. So Bhagavad Gita 14:26 it says, Mamacha yoga picharena bhakti yogena sevata sagunan samati etan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So everyone should remember 3 A's of bhakti. Okay, which are those? Ahetuki bhakti, ananya bhakti, avyabhicharani bhakti. All 3 are same. Avyabhicharani, ahetuki without any. So this, sorry, ahetuki is little different. Avyabhicharani, ananya bhakti is same. Avyabhicharani bhakti, ananya bhakti, and ahetuki bhakti. So 3 A's of bhakti. So he here is talking avyabhicharena. So avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. So he says, one who engage in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. So we had discussed this part. So avyabhicharani bhakti means unallowed devotion. Person engaged in devotional service must be free from material motives. In this Krishna conscious movement, one's consciousness must be changed. When we are practicing Krishna consciousness, at least our outlook, attitude to the situation must be changed. Rather than playing blame game, at least we should accept our mistake. That consciousness must be changed. Okay, just one example I give, but there are so many things like that. So if consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. If the aim towards service Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. A surrendered soul serves Krishna without material consideration. Anya abhilasita shunya. Anya jnana karmadhyanavritam. Anukulyana krishnanu sinanam bhaktiruttam. That is the definition of pure devotional service from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So anya abhilasita shunya. Jnana karmadhyanavritam. So unallowed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of body and mind, such as jnana, mental speculation, karma, fruitive workers, it's called bhakti yoga. So when we are performing devotional service without having a jnana mishra bhakti, karma mishra bhakti, yoga mishra bhakti, so that means we want to just have a knowledge. And okay, so karma mishra bhakti, we should desire something in return from Krishna. So we should, the bhakti should be free from all those things. At least attitude should be like that. So then it is, it's a pure bhakti. So bhakti yoga is the proper activity of the soul, and when one actually engages in unallowed, uncontaminated devotional service, is already liberated. So why Prabhupada is talking about unconditional devotional service is very important. So why, when if someone is performing unallowed devotional service, is pure, is beyond 3 modes of material nature. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, right? So the pure devotee's nature is like that. So we should not judge the pure devotees from external vision. To explain those points, Prabhupada is talking about this ananya bhakti, avyabhicharani bhakti, ahetuki bhakti. Okay. So all liberated, sagunan samti etan, brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material condition, even though his bodily feature may appear materially conditioned. अब अभी पूरा background समझ में आ गया होगा आपको. If clear, then please write in the chat. we understood or clear or understand whatever. So one should therefore not see a pure devotee from the materialistic point of view. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. मुझे याद है एक बार मैं जा रहा था राधा कुंड, कब की बात है, आई थिंक सौरभ प्रभु के साथ गया था मैं. तो वहां पे एक व्यक्ति बोला, मैंने उनको डोनेशन नहीं दिया, तो वन पर्सन कमेंटेड, ठग को ठग ही पहचाने. एक चोर को एक चोरी पहचान सकता है, उसी तरह एक भक्त को एक भक्ति पहचान सकता है. So I didn't give money. He might thought that I can consider him as a ठग. So he also said ठग को ठग ही पहचाने. So मुझे भी ठग बोला. That's okay. But it was very nice. It's very simple. No? बोलते हम बुरे तो दूसरों को बुरा देखते हैं, कहने की मतलब है. हाँ. So that's why Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material condition, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. He seems defective. They are walking very slow, but they are transcendental. We saw the video of Srila Prabhupada, right? Although he was on the deathbed, but he was giving the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. 13th chapter is the last chapter which was translated, which is the last chapter was translated by Srila Prabhupada. But he was still, the purport are really powerful, very, very powerful consciousness. If you read those purport, very realized purport, you are writing at the time of death. Can you imagine? So one should therefore not see pure devotee from materialistic point of view. That's very, very important. That is the meaning of this verse. Unless one is actually a devotee, cannot see another devotee perfectly. As one Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari cannot distinguish between a devotee and non-devotee. He is simply concerned with worship of the deity in the temple. Madhyam Adhikari, however, can distinguish between the devotee and non-devotee, as well as between the devotee and the Lord. Thus, he treats the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee and non-devotee in different ways. Madhyam Adhikari can. So, for the sake of preaching, we have to differentiate at least. No? Otherwise, we will not be able to preach. That's why I thought. Does it mean that Srila Prabhupada was a Madhyam Adhikari, was not Uttam Adhikari? No. So, out of mercy, sometime, as I mentioned that teacher बच्चे को सिखाते हैं क ख घ, वो क लिखवाते हैं. So, doesn't mean that teacher is still teaching, learning क ख घ. But he has come to the level of student, so that the teacher can explain student nicely. So sometimes the pure devotee, for the sake of preaching, they lower down their position. So that is their mercy. They are bringing themselves a lower level. Uttam Adhikari to Madhyam Adhikari. So that's their mercy. Okay. So that's why it says, no one should criticize the body defects of pure devotee. If there are such a defects, they should be overlooked. Okay. And what should be taken into account is spiritual master's main the spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord, as stated in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 9:30. What is that? Apiche susduracharo bhajante mam ananya bhav sadureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if the devotee sometimes seems engaged in abominable activity, he should be considered a sadhu. Okay, he has fallen from the standard, but he has not changed the worshipable object. Okay, some certain reason, whatever may be, he has fallen from the standard. So, but still says, Krishna says, my opinion is that he's not demon, he's sadhu. So that is a Krishna's opinion. He's a sadhu. Okay. So, see, Krishna is considering him as sadhu, then who we are. Okay. So, because he says, even if the devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, should be considered as sadhu, saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in the loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. Still is better than karmis. Okay. So he says, no? So even though a pure devotee may not be born in the Brahmana or Goswami family, So if he engaged in the service of the Lord, he should not be neglected. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur. So I remember Advaita Acharya, once upon a time in his home, he was feeding the devotees on the Shraddha ceremony. So first food he offered to very highly advanced Brahmana. He was Haridas Thakur. So many Brahmana were sitting there. But first he offered the food to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur was telling, "Oh Advaita Acharya, why are you giving me food? I'm so fallen." He says, "Feeding you is like a feeding lakhs of Brahmanas. So I'm feeding you." So then, Advaita Acharya later on he feed other people, other Brahmanas. So that's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us, even if they are coming from the Chandala family, low-born family, Sudra family, but if they are really advanced in devotional service, he should not be neglected. Okay. So in actuality, there cannot be family of Goswami based on the material consideration. जैसे डॉक्टर का पुत्र डॉक्टर नहीं होता, उसी प्रकार गोस्वामी का पुत्र गोस्वामी नहीं होता. Prithu Maharaj's son was very demonic. Prithu Maharaj's son was Anga Maharaj, and Anga Maharaj, sorry. Ved Maharaj's son was Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj's father was very, very demonic. Prithu Maharaj was appeared by churning the thigh of Ved Maharaj. That's different thing. So when Ved Maharaj was so uncooperative with the Brahmana and all, so then his father Anga Maharaj left the kingdom. And finally, when he was mistreating everyone in the kingdom, so Brahmanas who were in charge to take the decision to enthrone qualified person, they killed by reciting mantra, killed the Ved Maharaj. And finally, the power of mantra they produced, create, and give up to Prithu Maharaj from the thigh of Ved Maharaj. That comes in 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should not judge that, okay, he has taken up birth in Goswami family, so he is also Goswami. No. Okay. So Goswami title is actually monopoly of the pure devotee. That's from pure devotee, monopoly. Thus, we speak of the 6 Goswami headed by Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. So they are Goswamis. So they have associated with Mlechas. They were also untouchables. They were not allowed to go in Jagannath temple. Even Haridas Thakur was also not allowed. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami had practically become Mohammedan, had therefore changed their names Dabir Khas, Sakir Malik. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself made them Goswami. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, is master of the senses. Devotee is not controlled by the senses, but is the controller of the senses. Consequently, he should be called Swami or Goswami even though he may not be born in the Goswami family. Okay, so that's very, very important. We should not judge them, external appearance, whatever. So according to the formula, the Goswami who are descendant of Sri Nityanand Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu are certainly devotee, but devotees coming from other families should not be discriminated against. Okay, Nityanand Prabhu ki family se aaye hain, Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki family se aaye hain, so they are devotee. They can be Goswami. But if someone is coming from other family and they are really pure devotee, they should not be neglected, should not be discriminated. Indeed, whether the devotee come from family of previous Acharya or from any ordinary family, they should be treated equally. So we can see in the example of Srila Prabhupada, even though many devotee came from the Mlecha family, but they have been awarded the title of Sannyasa Swami. Okay, so one should not think, oh, there is American Goswami and discriminate against him. Nor should one think there is Nityanand Vamsa Goswami. There is an undercurrent of protest against our awarding the title Goswami to American Vaishnavas of Krishna conscious movement. So Prabhupada was criticized when he was awarded Goswami. He gave a title of sannyasi to many people. So Prabhupada gave the title of sannyasi to the devotees who came from Nicha family based on the strength of this instruction of this verse. So some people flatly tell the American devotee that their sannyas or title of Goswami is not bona fide. However, according to the statement of Srila Rupa Goswami in this verse, American Goswami and in the family of Acharya bonding. On the other hand, devotee, so hope it is clear. On the other hand, a devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of a Brahmana, father, or Goswami. On the other hand, the devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of the Brahmana father or Goswami in the family of Nityananda or Advait Prabhu should not be artificially puffed up by thinking that he has become a Goswami. So, अगर हम ये फैमिली में नहीं आते और गोस्वामी बन जाते हैं, we should not be puffed up. That is another instruction. We should not discriminate, but we should not be puffed up also. It's an instruction for both the sides. So he should always remember that as soon as he becomes materially puffed up, he immediately fall down. It says pride come before fall. This Krishna conscious movement is transcendental side, and there is no room for jealousy. This movement is meant for Paramhansa who are completely free from all jealous, Paramanirmatsaranam, non-envious people. Anyway, recently before this class, I was giving another class and I spoke on this topic of Nirmatsaranam, Anusuya way, non-enviousness. Okay. So the movement is meant for Paramhansa who are completely free from jealous, non-envious. So one should not be jealous whether he is born in the family of Goswami or has a title of Goswami awarded to him. As soon as anyone become envious, he fall from the platform of Paramahansa. So if we consider the bodily defect of Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of Vaishnava is very serious. We should not offend them. In Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hathimata, mad element offense. A mad element can create a disaster. पागल हाथी आप समझो क्या कर सकता है वो. So mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters into nicely trimmed garden. पूरा garden का तहस नहस कर देगा. So similar way, when we make an offense, it's like a mad elephant. It creates bhakti का तहस नहस कर देगा. One should therefore be very careful to commit any offense against a Vaishnava. So every devotee should be ready to take instruction from serious Vaishnava, and superior Vaishnava must be ready to help inferior Vaishnava in all respect. We should ready to take instruction and we should ready to help. So both the thing. We should always ready to accept the instruction. And someone is advanced, they should ready to help inferior Vaishnava. One is superior or inferior according to his spiritual development in Krishna consciousness. One is forbidden to observe the activities of pure Vaishnava from material point of view. So we should not observe them, material judgment. It is said, even Guru is coming from the beer shop or wine shop, we should not judge him. We should not judge him. भाई आप प्रचार करने गया होगा, क्या पता आपको कौन से रीजन से गए थे, क्या पता आपको. We should not judge them. अरे वो दारू पीने गए थे, क्या पता आपको. Right? We should not judge them. Sometimes we don't understand that. So for the neophytes, especially considering pure devotee from the material point of view is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing pure devotee externally. If you feel something, okay, keep distance, but don't offend them. One should therefore avoid observing pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal feature and understanding how he is engaged in the transcendental living service of the Lord. And we should see his consciousness, his intention. So in this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from material point of view, and thus one can gratefully become a purified devotee himself. So we should actually appreciate the qualities of other devotee. So when we appreciate the qualities of other devotee, we also develop those qualities. That's very, very important point. So those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to certain section of people a certain section of devotee or certain tract of land are generally prone to see external features of the devotee. So they have so much still bodily consciousness. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what is that verse? Seva Gokhara. यस्यात्म बुद्धि गुणपे त्रिधातु के स्वदी कलत्रादि सुभोम इज्यति यतीर्थ बुद्धि सलिलेन करचित जनेषु अभिज्ञेषु एव स एव गोखर. So one who identifies himself as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, air, who assume his wife and family are permanently his own, or who thinks the earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as a merely a water there, but who never identify himself with, feels kinship with, worship or even visit those who are wise in spiritual path, such a person is no better than cow and ass. So still they are on the bodily level. So we should not judge them by external feature. Okay, we should not consider them that they are limited to certain country. It's universal. Forget about this earthly planet. It is valid to another planet also. So such a neophyte, unable to appreciate the exalted service of the advanced devotee, try to bring the Mahapagwa to their platform. तो कभी कभी उनका फॉल्ट फाइंड करके हम उसको अपने लेवल के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं. So bringing others up down means I also have to go down. Okay. So we experience such a difficulty. You know, some few days back I have heard one message that I was helping one person to climb to the top of the hill. So while helping him, he also realized that he has also reached the top of the hill. If he appreciate and help others, we definitely reach to that position. So we experience such a difficulty in propagating this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not appreciate the extraordinary activity of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. So this Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about whatever. I don't want to discuss on these things, but we should not criticize unnecessarily. Simply try to bring us that platform and then try to criticize us in every respect. We very much regret their naive activity and poor fund of knowledge. An empowered person who is actually engaged in the confidential service of the Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being. For it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread the Krishna conscious movement all over the world. We should not criticize if someone is preaching, because they cannot preach unless he is empowered by Krishna. So when one thus criticizes a pure devotee, commits an offense, Vaishnava Aparadh. It is very obstructive and dangerous for those who desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. A person cannot derive any spiritual benefit when he offends the lotus feet of Vaishnava. Everyone should therefore be very careful not to be jealous of an empowered Vaishnava. That's why Guru also, they don't keep the servants for a long time. They keep changing. Why? Because they become over familiar. When they become over familiar, they will start committing offense. They will start looking externally. So that's why in any relationship, as I told many times, you should always keep healthy distance. So in the relationship, you become so familiar, over familiar, then it will breed contempt. We'll judge them. Okay, so it is also an offense to consider empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. Punishment and all those things. It's that is also offense. It is offensive to try to give him advice or correct him. कभी-कभी समझ में नहीं आता कर देना चाहिए. But हमारा प्रॉब्लम ही है आर्ग्यूमेंट आर्ग्यूमेंट आर्ग्यूमेंट. We give so much argument. Sometimes we don't understand. So that actually argumentative nature, harm us only. मैंने भी देखा है. कभी कभी तो बहुत बार आर्ग्यूमेंट अगर कर देता हूँ. Actually that's actually ना sometimes one side we have argument and one side we have mercy of elder or senior Vaishnava or even in the family. No, we should what we should prefer is give up the argument. Okay, accept the defeat in the argument, but please them and receive the mercy of that person. So sometimes no, argument becomes so much that it disturbs also elder Vaishnava. Then you lose the mercy. You may win the argument, but you will lose the mercy. Now it's our choice whether we want to accept the mercy or we want to win the argument. Choice is mine, your, and everyone. So I am also practicing. So one can distinguish between neophyte Vaishnava. Okay, so that's why it is offensive to try to give him advice or correct him. But nowadays YouTube has become guru, so even the children also argue. Anyway, so one can distinguish between neophyte Vaishnava and advanced Vaishnava by their activities. पता लग जाता है. So recently, one devotee, some time ago, he wanted to be initiated. So, and he was saying, "No, Maharaj, I want to be initiated. I want to be initiated." That devotee, he was in touch. He approached to that Maharaj. He also requested just to please that devotee. He understood that Maharaj said no. There are some reason. उनको खुश रखने के लिए वो गए महाराज को पूछने के लिए. फिर महाराज उनको आके बुलाए. आप बताओ आप कब से जप कर रहे हैं? तो बोले इतने समय से. बोला कि आपका 2 साल हो गया? बोला हाँ मैं इतने समय से कर रहा हूँ. तो बोले आपने बीच में जब ब्रेक किया था. भाई गॉड, महाराज तुम हाँ. वो बोले हाँ सचमुच ब्रेक हुआ था. Now that is guru. That is guru. You identified literally. There was one Mataji. She was aspiring. She was aspiring from Radha, His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj. Sorry, her husband was aspiring from the Radha Govind Maharaj. So they went to take a diksha from Radha Govind Maharaj. So उनके साथ उनकी पत्नी भी बैठ गई दीक्षा लेने के लिए. तो उसमें उन्होंने क्या बोलते हैं, मैं भूल गया क्या नाम दिया. तो ना प्रभु जी को तो अच्छा नाम दिया, माता जी को क्या दुखी दुर्मति देवीदासी नाम दिया. दुर्मति देवीदासी. वो रोने लगी. अरे महाराज आपने ऐसा नाम क्यों दिया? और सब लोग चकित हो गए, महाराज आपने ऐसा नाम क्यों दिया? तो महाराज उनको बोले ये एक भी माला जप नहीं करती है. तो सबने उनको पूछा माता जी को, आप एक भी माला जप नहीं करती है ना? हाँ. तो महाराज उनको बोले ठीक है, अभी आपका नाम है दुर्मति देवीदासी, और आप जब से 16 माला करोगे 1 साल के बाद अगर आप अच्छे से 16 माला किया तो आपका नाम मैं सुमति देवीदासी कर दूंगा. और 1 साल के बाद महाराज उनका नाम बदल दिया सुमति देवीदासी. ऐसा कुछ तो हुआ था नाम. दैट इज द थिंग. आइडेंटिफाई पता लग जाता है बिहेवियर से. और so everyone should therefore be careful not to be jealous of empowered Vaishnava, Shuddha Vaishnava. Okay, it is an offense to consider empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. It is offense to try to give him advice or correct him. So I was telling that point. So sometimes we argue so much. We win the argument, we win the logic, but we lose the mercy. If mercy is available, we should accept the mercy, giving them the argument. So in the relationship, the argument doesn't work. We have to first of all, we have to understand, especially those who are family men and all, should understand that in the relationship, if you really want to keep the relationship, we have to go beyond that. Okay, chalo. That's the secret. One can distinguish between a neophyte Vaishnava and advanced Vaishnava by their activities. The advanced Vaishnava is always situated as the spiritual master, and the neophyte is always considered his disciple. Clear here? So spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice of the disciple. जब तक पूछते नहीं तब तक एडवाइस देना नहीं चाहिए. No. But गुरु की भी बड़ाई होती है कि वो पूछते हैं क्या करें. So the spiritual master must not be subjected to advice of disciple, nor should the spiritual master be obliged to take instruction from those who are not disciple. This is the sum and substance of Srila Rupa Goswami's advice in this verse, the 6th verse. So hope this is very clear. So I will take few more minutes. Sorry, I'll complete other. So just a minute. So this is what we discuss: offense against a pure devotee, criticism to bodily defects, birth, material vision, jealous, disciplinary action, to advise, to correct. The effect is obstructive and dangerous to our bhakti. So criticism, apichesu durachara, we should not criticize them, even if not from the Brahman or Goswami family. We should we should not offend them, saying that they are not from Brahman or Goswami family. So who is Goswami family? They criticize. Goswami family may criticize, protest Goswami title given to American Vaishnava. So ऐसा हो सकता है. So we should not be envious of Western sannyasi, proud of own birth. That has been advised. Okay, so basically, who is Goswami? Monopoly of pure devotee, not hereditary, non-envious and pridelessness. So material vision, not observe action of pure devotee from material perspective, should see how he is serving the Lord. What is the origin of external vision? So we even little bit inclination someone has for Krishna consciousness, then we should see how we can fan that spark of Krishna consciousness and create a fire in them. What is the origin of external vision? Think that case is limited to certain section of people, certain section of devotees, certain tract of land. So we should not be jealous of pure devotee. Prabhupada himself wrote about him, did not appreciate the extraordinary activities of spreading AC worldwide. Empowered person should not be treated as an ordinary human being. So Krishna Bhakti Vina Nahi. So many things he has mentioned. Today, we'll discuss verse number 7. Shall I continue for some time? It's already 8:30.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so verse number 7. So as we had already discussed in the beginning of this verse, in this thing, beginning of Nectar of instruction. So text 1 to 3 talks about Saddha. Text 4 to 6 talk about Sadhu Sangha. Text 7 talks about Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishtha and Ruchi. So we had already discussed Saddha and how to do Sadhu Sangha. And we are going to discuss what is that Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti. That part we are going to discuss. Okay. So, and also we had discussed in the here also we discuss. Okay. So first one talk about Vaisarana Bhakti. Verse 8 talks about Raganuga Sadhan Bhakti. 9 to 11 talks about Bhav Bhakti. So we had already completed Saddha Sadhu Sangha. Now we are going to discuss about Bhajana Kriya. Okay, what is Bhajan? So these are the 9 stages of devotional service. Okay, so this is what we discuss: controlling the mind and senses. 6 things unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. Verse number 2. 6 things favorable for Krishna consciousness. 6 loving action between devotees. Dealing with different type of devotees and don'ts in dealing. What you should not do when you're dealing with the devotees. That also we discuss. Okay. Now, in today's verse, we are going to discuss about Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishtha and Ruchi. So he says, Syata Krishna Nama Charitadi, Sitapya Vidya, Pito Patapta Rasayana, Shanarochikanu, Kintu Adrad Anudinam Nakhalu Seva Jishta, Sadvi Kramada Bhavati Tadagada Mula Hantri. He says, the Syata Krishna Nama Charitadi. So the holy name, character, pastime, and activities of Krishna are all transcendentally sweet, like sugar candy. So I have spoken this verse many times as a citation in different classes. So although the tongue is one of the although the tongue of one afflicted by jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting this sweet name every day, a natural release awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So basically, now we had already, Ado Shraddha, then we have Sadhu Sangha. So when you come in Sadhu Sangha, what will they tell you? That you do Bhajana Kriya. So how you can do Bhajana Kriya? That is, holy name, character, pastime, activities of Krishna are all transcendentally sweet like a sugar candy. If we keep all the tongue of one afflicted by jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, वो लोग टेस्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं sweet. But it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting, so when you are involved in Bhajana Kriya, sweet names every day, chanting the sweet names every day, natural release awaken within his tongue. So, and his disease, that anartha nivrutti, disease will go away. Bhajana Kriya, Nishtha, Ruchi. Sorry, Bhajana Kriya, anartha nivrutti, Nishtha and Ruchi. Okay, so he will develop the taste gradually. Why? Because the disease will be destroyed from the root. So that's very important factor. Okay, so holy name of the Lord Krishna, his quality, pastime, and so forth are all the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. It is said, what is that verse? Name Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Suddha Nitya Mukto Abhinnatva Nama Namino. Name Chintamani Krishna. Krishna's name is like a Chintamani. Sri Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, full of, it's live and full of rasas. Purna Suddha, it's a Purna Suddha, it's very purest. Nitya Mukta, it's always liberated. Abhinnatva means there is no difference between Nama, name, and Namina, the possessor of the name. So there is no difference between Krishna's quality, pastime, name, and himself. So that's why it is the holy name of Lord Krishna, his quality, pastime, and so forth are all of nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Okay. So naturally they are very sweet, like a sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. They are very sweet. Nescience, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretion. मुझे भी थोड़े दिन से खाने का मन नहीं कर रहा वो लगे. So it's happened because of bilious secretion. Attacked by jaundice, a tongue of deceased person cannot palatably release sugar candy. तो sugar candy खाने का मन नहीं करेगा. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. वो अगर jaundice सफर कर रहा है तो उसको मीठा भी दोगे तो उसको कड़वा लगेगा. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to release the transcendental palatable names, quality, form, pastime of Krishna. So if you are in ignorance, where ignorance means, what is knowledge? Knowledge means difference between matter, spirit and controller of both. Difference between knowledge means difference, knowing the difference between prakriti, nature, so what is it? Prakriti, Purusha. There are two Purusa, Jivatma, Anuatma, Vibhuatma. So we should know the difference between them. That is knowledge, but out of ignorance, that is covered. So we would not like to, chant the holy name of the Lord, Krishna and all. If we don't feel the taste. So despite this disease, if one with a great care and attention take to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastime, his ignorance will be destroyed. It's like, although we feel bitter, but if we keep taking sugar candy, what will happen? Our ignorance will be destroyed. So that jaundice will go away, and later on, gradually, we'll feel the taste, we feel the sweetness of the sugar candy. So same way, right now we have no taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord. But if we keep chanting the holy name of the Lord, gradually the avidya, ignorance will go away, and we'll feel the taste of chanting holy name. Okay, so his ignorance will be destroyed and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that is the essence. So when a man in material world takes more interest in materialistic way of life, that in Krishna consciousness is considered to be in disease condition. Well, he is more interested in materialistic way of life, then is considered disease in Krishna consciousness. A normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord. That is our constitutional duty. Jivera Swarupai, Krishnera Nityadas. Being a das of Krishna eternally is the eternal constitutional position of Jivatma. So this healthy condition is lost when living entity forget Krishna due to being attracted by external feature of Krishna's Maya energy. So ऐसा कब होता है? When we are attracted by illusory energy. So this word of Maya is called Durasraya, Bahuartha Maya, which means false or bad shelter or misdirected shelter, you can say. So one who put his faith in Durasraya become candidate for hoping against the hope. In the material world, everyone is trying to become happy, and although their material attempts are baffled in every way, due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistake. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of struggle for existence in the material world. Okay, one mistake after another, one mistake of another. Sometimes, we are suffering through something, and to find the solution, we bring some temporary solution that create another problem. Just like, traffic problem, air problem, whatever, so many things are there. Even we to commit in our life. This is the way of struggle for existence in the material world. We feel that, oh, we do that, then we'll feel happy. We don't know. See, one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy. He does not accept such an instruction. He does not accept such an instruction. Okay. So this Krishna conscious movement is being spread all over the world just to remedy this gross ignorance. People in general are misled by blind leaders Leaders of human society, the politician, philosopher, and scientist are blind because they are not Krishna consciousness. So according to Bhagavad Gita, because they are bereft of all factual knowledge due to their atheistic way of life, they are actually sinful rascal and are the lowest among the men. Namam Truskrutinam Muda Prapadyante Naradama Maya Pritagyanam Asurim Pavam Asritaha. So we had discussed about this, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion and partake of the atheistic nature of demon, do not surrender unto me. So we had seen this. So and we have discussed in detail about them in in the Bhagavad Gita course. So such a people never surrender to Krishna and they oppose the endeavor of those who wish to take Krishna's shelter. And when such atheists become the leader of the society, the entire atmosphere is such a science. In such a condition, people do not become very enthusiastic to receive this Krishna conscious movement. Just as diseased person suffering from jaundice does not release the taste of sugar candy. लोगों को मन नहीं करता भक्ति लेना, but they don't know that very bhakti itself is the solution. Okay. So, however, one must know that for jaundice, sugar candy is the only specific medicine. Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Krishna consciousness, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is the only remedy for setting the world aright. Although Krishna consciousness may not be very palatable for a diseased person, Srila Rupa Goswami nonetheless advised that if one wants to be cured of the material disease, he must take to it with great care and attention. So हमें अच्छा ना लगे, but if you really want to be cured, sometimes mother give bitter medicine. We don't like to take it, but we have to take it. Okay. So if we take, then only we'll be cured. Yeah. So he must take it with great care and attention. One begins his treatment by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra because by chanting this holy name of Lord, person in the material condition will be relieved from all misconception. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So avidya, misconception about spiritual identity, provides the foundation for ahankara or false ego within the heart. So avidya, misconception about spiritual identity. So avidya means that we are not able to differentiate between body and spirit. So real disease is in the heart. If the mind is cleansed, however, if consciousness is cleansed, a person cannot be harmed by the material disease. So we have a heart disease. Hridaya Granthi Tesam. So to cleanse the mind and heart from all misconception, one should take to this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is both easy and beneficial. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is immediately freed from the blazing fire of material existence. We should not be this Hridaya Granthi. We should be free from this thing and remedies, chanting the holy name of the Lord. That's why it says that Syada Krishna Nam Charitadi Sitatpya Vidya Pito Patapta Rasayana Narochikanu. There are 3 stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord. The offensive stage, the stage of lessening the offense, Nam Aprad, Nam Abbas, and Suddha Nam, pure stage. When a neophyte takes to chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, he generally commits many offenses. There are 10 basic offenses. So which are the offenses? I think I already discussed on that day. And if the devotee avoids this, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between offensive chanting and pure chanting. So 10 offenses you might be aware. These are the offenses. Anyway, you can have this. I think all of you might be aware also. Someone can share. मिलन प्रभु शेयर कर देना जरा अगर है तो आप. क्या मिलन प्रभु चले गए हैं?
है ओके प्रभु जी.
Okay, so if the devotee avoid this, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between offensive chanting and pure chanting. And when attain the pure stage, he is immediately liberated. This is called Bhav Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. As soon as one is liberated from the blazing fire of material existence, he can release the taste of transcendental life. So what is the conclusion? That in order to get free from the material disease, one must take to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The Krishna conscious movement is specially meant for creating the atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. So yesterday I have shown the 7 purposes of ISKCON. You can share this also. All of you should remember this thing. My laptop थोड़ा slow चल रहा है. So these are the 7 purposes of ISKCON. You can share this also. Everyone should remember this thing. To bring the member, okay, to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, to reveal the teaching of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is one of the purpose of Krishna consciousness. Okay, so one must begin with the faith, and when this faith is increased by chanting, a person can become member of the society. Okay, so at least Adu Shraddha is very, very important. Group pe dal dena. So we are sending Sankirtan party all over the world, and they are experiencing that even in the remote part of the world where there is no knowledge of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra attracts the thousands of men to our camp. At least ना सबको कीर्तन आना चाहिए. That's why कुछ बोलना नहीं आता बैठ के जप करो. People will be purified. Don't worry about that big philosophy. No need. No, Prabhupada used to send how he used to send many people all over the world. एक ना पृथ्वी का गोला लेते थे. He takes earth, round shape earth map, and he said rotate, and then now who will go next? उनको घुमा के rotate करते थे और रखते थे ना वो okay, this person will go. So while he was doing that thing, then what happened that एक बार जापान आ गया. That I forgot who was that Prabhu who was उनका टर्न था. बोला कैसे जापान. So no one was ready to go to Japan. Then Prabhupada said, who will go to Japan and preach? I will take him back to Godhead. So one devotee raised that figure. So that's the point. See, and they were telling that how they used to preach. वहां पे बैठ जाने का एक जगह पे मृदंग करताल लेके हरे कृष्णा जप करने का अपने आप सब काम शुरू होता है. Even the Prabhupada also started with the same thing by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Tompkins Square Park in New York. So in some area, people begin to imitate the devotees by shaving their head, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra only few days after hearing mantra. This may be imitative, but imitation of good thing is desired. Some imitators gradually become interested in being initiated by spiritual master and offer them for initiation. So if one is sincere, is initiated, and this stage is called Bhajan Kriya. So it's the beginning of the Bhajan Kriya. One then actually engage in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds daily, refraining from illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. By Bhajan Kriya, one attains the freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. He no longer goes to restaurant or hotel to taste so-called palatable dishes made with meat, onion, nor does he care for smoke or drink tea or coffee. He not only refrain from illicit sex but avoids sex life entirely. Nor is he interested in wasting his time in speculating or gambling. So in this way, it is to be understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted thing, anartha nivruti. So bhajan kriya, anartha nivruti. So the word anartha refer to unwanted thing. Anartha are vanquished when one become attached to Krishna conscious movement. Okay. So when person is relieved from unwanted thing, he becomes fixed in executing his activity. So that is called nishta. Okay. Indeed, he becomes attracted to such activities and experience ecstasy in executing devotional service. This is called bhav, preliminary awakening of the dormant love of God. So they feel that the conditioned soul become free from material existence and lose interest in bodily conception of life, including material opulence, material knowledge, material attraction of all variety. At such a time, one can understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, and what is his Maya. Okay. So although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb a devotee once he attains the power stage. This is because the devotee can see the real position of Maya. And Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna, and forgetfulness of Krishna and Krishna consciousness stand side by side like a light and shadow. So when there is Maya, there is no Krishna. It is a Krishna. कृष्ण सूर्य समा माया और अंधकार जहां कृष्ण तहां नहीं माया अधिकार. Krishna is like a sun, Maya is like a darkness, and wherever there is Krishna, there is no Maya, no place for Maya. So if one remain in shadow, he cannot enjoy the facility offered by light. If one remain in the light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness of shadow. So when we do this bhajan kriya, Syat Krishna Nama Charita Adi Sitatpya Vidya Pito Patapta Rasayana Narochikano. So then what will happen? Anartha nivrutti will happen. So when the anartha nivrutti goes, anartha nivrutti will happen. We will develop firm faith nishta. So when we have developed that nishta and we are realizing that okay, I'm getting free from anarthas, we'll develop the ruchi also gradually. Okay. So we cannot be disturbed by darkness of shadow. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one gradually become liberated and remain in light. Indeed, he does not even touch the darkness. As confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Surya Sama Maya hoy Andhkar, yahan Krishna taha nahi Maya radhikara. Krishna is compared to sunshine, Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of external energy will immediately vanish. So that was, Prabhupada has explained that chanting the holy name of the Lord is pastime. Syat Krishna Nam Charitadi Supta Sitatpya Vidya. It's like a sugar candy. So if the person who is suffering from the jaundice, take it. Who is suffering from bhavarog. Okay. So material world is known as Methunagar. It's all about attraction. So if you want to get rid of this thing, then it says we have to take this seriously. Although we may not like, but we should continue, keep doing that, and gradually the disease will go away. Tadagada Mulahantri, the disease will go away from the root. It will be uprooted gradually. So that is the conclusion of this verse. So we discuss this. I'm really sorry, huh? I don't know. This PC is not working properly. Okay, so this is what we discuss. 7 principle of chanting, symptoms of disease, not ignorance, forgetfulness. चेतन बोली जय जीव भगवान करे निकट तो माया तारे झपटिया दरे निकट. So distracted by maya, false or bad shelter, durasraya bayartha manina, hope against the hope, cannot understand the mistake. So that is individual thing. There is a collective atheistic leadership misled by blind leaders. What is the cure? Chanting with care and attention. Cheto darpan marchanam, benefit easy and beneficial. Where? So ISKCON Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya. Sadhusanga comes to ISKCON, Sankirtan, Bhajana Kriya, 16 round for regulative principle. Then Anartha Nivrutti will happen. Celibacy, no gambling, no tea, no coffee. So then beyond cure, what will happen? Bhav. So preliminary awakening of the dormant of God. So what will happen? 3 symptoms. No bodily conception, understand Krishna and Maya. At Bhava stage, he will not be disturbed by Maya, sun and shadow. So this is the happiness curve. So when you spiritually become happy, material happiness will go away. So we have recently learned in Bhagavad Gita 18.37 and 38 happiness in 3 modes. So happiness in the goodness is like poison in the beginning, nectar in the end. Happiness in the mode of passion is poison. Sorry, nectar in the beginning, poison in the end, and happiness in ignorance is it's poison in every stage from beginning to end. So that's what we had discussed. So senses are temporary, desire to enjoy and sense object. So it's eternal, desire to serve eternal Krishna. So let's make our intelligence fit, futility, insustainability, and dive deep into Krishna consciousness, intensity, variety, extent, whatever. Sing your way to happiness. So these are different spatial, increasing, non-dependent, generous. Anyway, so I'm not going to discuss these details now. Okay. So okay, so now how to do that, how to train the mind and all those things, we'll discuss in the next verse, verse number 8. So should I continue or stop? Anyway, we'll do tomorrow. I think it's so late. I have not yet taken prasadam also. So anyway, it's very small verse I can cover also. Let's see. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. If you have any question, comment, you can ask. I have 5 minutes. I cannot wait for more than that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.